Hi there, welcome to another episode in the Accelerate Your Agile series from agilecoach.com.au. Going to go through a quick one today about the three agile mistakes when setting up to be agile. So this might be a big agile transformation you're on, or setting up teams to be agile, or even just trying to get some leadership teams to be agile, or even just a development team to be agile. There are loads of mistakes you can make, and you can learn from those through your journey. I just want to share with you three of the ones that the biggest that I not just the biggest, but probably the most frequent ones that I've witnessed as well, and been a part of, and probably I have made these mistakes myself, but by sharing, hopefully, I will reduce the impact for yourselves, and you can hopefully get a better transformation next time. So I'm going to jump in. Number one mistake. We make the mistake of thinking agile is the outcome. Agile is not an outcome. It simply is not. We talk about this as being, oh, we must go agile. Well, it's not being agile that you want. It's some other measures that you might want. And so when we talk about implementing agile, yes, we're looking at implementing a mindset and a set of principles and practices, but you can't measure mindset, principles, and practices. So why are you doing those things is what you've always got to ask. And this is when you come to doing this, you go, well, we want to be quicker, we want to deliver more, we want better satisfaction in the team, we want better customer satisfaction. So those things you might be able to measure. So look at the things you can measure, and then you will know if what you are doing is successful or not. Maybe going agile wasn't successful because those things were detrimental to those measures. So agile, it's almost impossible to be successful because you can't measure it. So measure something that you can, or set the goals against things that you can measure. And I'd suggest pace, because if you're fast, you've got the ability to be agile and change track. Throughput would be really important. Staff retention, staff happiness, and customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is really the gold standard there. Number two, this is probably for a lot of projects. This is number two. We don't do change management 101 on agile transformations very well. So you can have a project to implement a new email system and you'll get a change manager. If you're implementing change of the way that people are going to work, you absolutely need to have change management involved. Now, I don't necessarily mean you need a change management team on it. What you need to understand is what the change management principles and practices are so you can apply them on your transformation. And so when we look at change management, it's not all about comms, but predominantly you can address a lot of the problems with good quality comms, and that includes listening. And the reason why we have to do that, and this is my experience, for every 10 people you have on that transformation, you might have one promoter, but you would have seven apathetic people who think have got more important things, and they really have. It's not even apathy, actually. I'll take that back. Not apathetic people who have other priorities, and your goal is not their goal. So you got to bear that in mind. But what you will have is you will have detractors, and they're the ones that cause you to fail. If you've got a couple of detractors on your team, that's a real problem. They will be there constantly, and they will be stopping you from being successful. So they will definitely pull the apathetic ones towards them, and they might even pull the promoter back. So change management principles and practices will help you address that. So have a think about that. That's number two. Number three, and this one I think is born out of number one. So when organizations have gone, right, we must go agile, and they don't set up measures of success, they then go to one of the big consulting houses. I'm not going to name any of them because they're all pretty decent, right? But they have to live in the environment where the people that are coming to them aren't agile. So the first thing they want is a plan and a cost and a when are things going to be done by. So of course we forget ourselves when we return that. Now I did have one consultancy that I worked with a long time ago. They said if they don't work this way, we don't work with them. And they were only a small boutique little place. They were pricey, but they were successful as a consequence because they wanted to work a certain way. Now, I don't think agile transformations can work any other way. They're going to have to work a certain way because they've got to get the contract with the organization. But we do forget ourselves. So what we end up doing is we see agile transformation plans. This will be done by this date. What percentage are you done? And in fact, what we should be doing is working with the leadership to say, well, actually, we're going to test and learn. We're going to have some servant leadership here. We're going to let the teams really run the show, and we're going to Sherpa them to where we want them to be. The whole idea of team self-improvement is an agile outcome. So you've got to embed that into the transformation that you're doing. Also, everything's big. We want it all done in 6 months. We're going to spend big money on this agile transformation. That's not agile. Agile is about small increments and test and learn. And I mean, the thing I put on the screen, the last sentence, is the thing that actually I see more often than not. The plan to go agile is often takes precedent over the solution and the quality of the agile transformation. And that goes back to the agile manifesto. And I don't mention the agile manifesto lightly. Everybody thinks they know agile, but if you really want to get back to the roots of what agile is, you have to go to the manifesto. And working solutions over comprehensive documentation is one of them. Also, working to a fixed plan is something we just don't want to do anymore. We want to be able to adapt to change rather than work to a fixed plan. So that's where they fail, because we don't work at the pace the team can work at. We work at how we want to work at the plan, and we forget our quality. So that's the three. That's the three. Let me just quickly wrap over those again, give you some more clarity on what I'm suggesting you can do differently. So first of all, agile is not an outcome. Measure what matters, and what matters when you're going agile, even if you're not going agile, right? How much are you outputting? How long does it take to output stuff? And what is your team like? Are you retaining the skills? Actually, team retention is probably a secondary measure, because if you're not retaining your team, your output's going to be terrible, and so is your pace. So a happy team does get good output and pace. High performing team. Good enough is not good enough. We want high performing, right? Change management 101. Don't forget to communicate, and that involves listening. Run at the right pace, and that means a good pace to keep people engaged, but not too much. Respect that these guys have got other priorities, and that your priority might not be theirs. Your priority to get the pace up and to change this practice here might not take precedent over implementing that compliance change. So you've got to work constantly get that feedback, and that's what a change management practice would do, or even if you've got those principles in your transformation team. Final one, not always possible if you're going in as external, but if you're internal and trying to transform a team or a stream or a whole division, remember your principles. Remember your principles. Apply those principles when you're doing an agile transformation as well. If it can work for software, it can work for agile transformations. Get constant, regular reviews and focus on the outcomes, not the follow the plan. I hope those will lead to more success in your agile transformations. If you'd like to get in touch, you can follow on Apple Podcasts. So we're doing this podcast series on YouTube, LinkedIn. There's a page there which is www.agilecoach.com.au, and the website, of course, as well, which has got all contact details on it. All right. Thank you very much for listening, or if you're on the webinar watching today, and I wish you a very good day.